Hello everybody, it's Julia with Senior Susie Stamps, and I'm glad you're here today. Welcome to the studio. I wanted to make a quick little video showing how I did some backgrounds on some cards. This was a follower's request, and this was the first card that I made. Now, these are hand-drawn images, just doodles, and then I colorized them. Here's the second one that I did, and this is partly stamp and partly hand doodled, and another little stamp here. But it's the background that really makes these cards interesting. This was the third one that I did, and this is kind of a decoupage effect. There's foam between these layers of these flowers, and then the same kind of background with some little squiggles that I did. And this one has some glitter glue on it. I don't think you'll be able to see that. I can't see it in the camera, but there's some nice little glitter and sparkle on this card. And then this one was the final one that I did in this series. And so I want to show you today how I did this background on another little card project. Now this one happens to have a little punched flower on top of a stamped image, and then some hand-drawn doodles in addition to that. And it has a little inside treatment because I had to cut a little bit off of that front. So let's get started. I have a little image that I've already started to kind of cut the time down on this card. Now this is a background piece that I used a piece of paper just to pick up some ink off of one of my stencils that I had used recently. And I keep those over here in my drawer along with my blank front panels. And so I have to go through them first to see if I can use them just as an effort to use up scraps in the studio. And on this one, I've put a decal edge on it, and I have used a red, it's kind of a cranberry red color. These are Bianyo markers. They were not expensive at all, and these are the only markers that I have opened up since we have everything kind of sort of maybe packed up. Okay, well here's the news. We are, by the time you see this, well no, it'll be the week after you see this, we are closing on a house that we found here in the Blairsville area, and I'm delighted to tell you. So you'll be seeing some pictures soon of just the bare bones on the new studio, because we are going to take some carpet out and have a LVP floor put in so that if I drop stuff or spill stuff, it won't make any difference. But anyway, let's get back to this card. Now, I have used a stamp, and then I just did a few little hand doodles in. I added a red outline in the stamp and added some red berries in there. And I've also done a little red outline on this panel as well as on this panel that we're going to use for the first layer. So let's get started. And I have a whole tub full of stuff over here. I have some Inca Gold metallic paint, and I have several inks. I'm going to drag them out of my big tub over here, and you can kind of see the colors that I'm going to be using. This is the stamp that I got. This is a penny black stamp, and I'm particularly fond of older penny black stamps that have the watercolor painting on the front like this, because it kind of shows you a good idea of how you can colorize the stamp. Now, if you compare these two, you can see where I added a few extra berries just to give it a little bit of interest over in this area here. This is 2495 Wish You Joy, and it was produced in 2002. So it's 22 years old, stamps like a champ. I got it used from eBay. I'm going to use this Post-it removable label tape, and we'll just cut another one that same size, since Cordelia decided to get her hair in here. Now, we'll just cover this section up, and I have one more ink pad to pull out. Hang on. And that's a nice yellow. This one happens to be Summer Sun from Stampin' Up, but you can use any combination that you want to on these inks. I just find that these particular colors really blend well together in this particular technique. I have a couple of green markers, and I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to use this lighter celery color because, let me show you. On this card, I used the darker marker for the broad tip strokes that I put in, and it's too dark on this card. I don't like it, but I am going to use the darker one to do some of the ivy leaves. I'm probably going to need a couple of acrylic blocks, and I have a bunch of different blending brushes in different sizes. Now, I got these blending brushes probably 8 years ago, maybe, from Amazon. They're makeup brushes, and I like them because they have all kind of different little tips on them. And so this is what I'm going to use today. It looks like I'm going to have to clean some Cordelia hair off of them too. She must have been lounging in my basket. I'm going to need a brush for flicking some of that acrylic paint on with, and then just one to tap with. And I think the first thing I want to do is to use some of this soft succulent and put just a little bit of color into these leaves. And this is kind of a loose coloring technique. It doesn't require a lot of precision, which is one of the reasons why I just wanted to try this. And again, I saw this technique on an old penny black stamp that I almost bought from eBay, but for some reason I didn't get it, which is, okay. You don't have to have everything you see, although for some reason I think I should. It's crazy, isn't it? But anyway, this just gives a little bit of color, and then there'll be some white space in there as well. And I'm going to go back in with a corresponding colored marker and do these veins for these leaves, just to help emphasize the green color a little bit. This one, and there we are. And a little bit in here, perhaps. There. And so now we're already starting to see just a little bit of color. And now I'm going to take my chisel tip. Rarely do I use chisel tip, but I've decided that on occasion they really can add something to a card. However, at this point, I know it doesn't look good, and I realize that. So just hang on now, because now comes the fun part. We're going to add some color in with our blending brushes. And I'm going to start with the yellow, I think. And I'm just going to kind of go in a little bit kind of close to the image, but I want to leave white space in this. It just adds to the interest of the card. There. Maybe a little bit darker in here. Okay. And then I'm going to go back in with a little bit of the lighter green color. And not a lot, just some in here. There. And now I'm going to go back in with some red. And again, I'm not trying to make a concentrated blend here at all. But you'd be surprised when you add a little bit of red into something, how festive it all of a sudden becomes. There. enough, and I think I'm going to put a little bit more down in here. And I think I'll put a little bit of that yellow down in there as well, just around our little sentiment here. Now we're going to add some brown in, and it'll kind of tone it down some, especially when we add it in the corners. And I'm going to use my bigger brush for that because I really want this to be kind of soft. And I'm going to put it in opposing corners and just tone this back a little bit. Got a little heavy-handed there, but it's okay. It doesn't matter. This is all going to come together in the end. I might put just a little bit more down in through here. And then we'll leave this color, this corner up in here bright. All right. Now, let's see, what else can we do? I think I'm ready to flick some paint on this. And I'm going to use my little acrylic block to do that. Whoops, I better shake that up. There we go. Now I'm going to try to be careful and not get this all over everywhere, because I did the other day. And my little blobs got a little bit big the other day as well. This is going on a little easier this time. I perhaps should have watered that paint down just a little bit more. There. I'm going to leave that to dry now, and I'll come back. I got to go wash these off, but I'll come back when it's dry and we'll finish this card. I think that's mainly dry now, and I think I'm going to go back in with another green marker. This one's a really pale green, and do just a little more coloring on these leaves. It doesn't really need a whole lot. Well, I guess we're going to have to do a little bit more than I wanted to, because this is a little darker color than what it looked like on the pen. That's okay. We're just going to go ahead and put these leaves in a little bit darker green and leave that original ink shading in there as well. And maybe we won't do all of them. Maybe we'll just do a couple of them and see how that looks. And then we'll pull off and know whether that's going to be enough color or not on this card. There's a little more white showing than I wanted it to. And you certainly don't have to color all of these images at all. This is just a really quick, simple little card to make. And it's all in the blending and all in the color choice, I think, really, is what kicks this card up over the edge. There, now let's see if that's enough green colored in. I'm tempted to do this one. Let me go ahead and get it in there too. And that tones down the little bit of chisel marks that are in there. But now, let's pull this piece off and see how it looks. There. Now, we're talking. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. And I'm just going to use my Books by Hand PVA glue today. This is a relatively flat card, so it doesn't have to have a whole lot of glue on it. This Books by Hand PVA glue is wonderful stuff. If you're looking for a new glue, I can highly recommend it. I'll leave a link in the description box below. Get my tweezers. And that's just a really good way to use up that little bit of cardstock that I got that ink on. I'll rub it from the back. I'm hoping that gold paint is completely dry, but it may not be. Oh, looks like it was. Good deal. And then I'm going to put this up onto some green cardstock. Now, I'm thinking these leaves all need to be colored. So that's what we're going to do in this particular one. I didn't have to do it in the other one. But in this one, for some reason, it looks like it needs it. You just have to be a little flexible sometimes, don't you? There. Now we're done. Okay. To wish you joy. And there's a nice little sparkle from that good old acrylic paint. There's a lot of color in this card, and I'm going to take this piece then and make an inside insert for the card and cut a white layer to go in on top of that. And I will cut these with my decal trimmer, same thing I did before. And on the first layer for the front, I made this 4 by 5 1/4. For the inside, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And you have to cut this one all the way around in order to get the decal to go all the way around. So we'll cut this one. We'll cut this one to 3 3/4 by 5. And then we'll cut this one to 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. And I use my chisel tip marker with this nice cranberry root color and just go around the edge. These Bianyo markers I've had for several years, and they still, most of them, now some of them have dried up, but most of them continue to really be kind of an impressive little marker for no more expensive than they were. And I will leave a link to that set. Also, I think I can still find the same set that I ordered, and if not, I know there's one that's similar to it. So here's the inside coming together for us. Those of you who are interested in the watercolor series, I'm going to start filming that tomorrow. So there should be one out on Wednesday this week. And then we'll see. We're closing on the new house next Tuesday. And you know, there's going to be a lot of flurry of moving and yada, yada, yada. So I don't know. We'll be a little sporadic probably. But I will have this studio until we get everything lined out for the new studio. So you should see a little bit of filming coming out from the studio over the next 2 or 3 weeks. But let me know if you like this card, and I'll show you the rest of them one more time. There we go. That's the first one I did. I really like these. They're interesting, and the spatter kind of finishes it up a little bit, but I think I like the one we did today a little better than I did this one. This one's probably going in the trash, but I like that little lighter chisel tip on that color there. So y'all have a great week, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye, everybody.